All right, would you be seated, please? We have a very special presentation for you before we close. One of the jobs of a pastor is to help other people get into the ministry and serve God. We're supposed to open doors. Sadly, today, most of them close doors and put a big lock on it. A lot of, and I hate to say this publicly, but a lot of pastors are consumed with pettiness and jealousy. And they don't want to get anybody else in the ministry that somebody might pay attention to. B.R. Lakin said a long time ago, if you can't tree the coon, don't kill the dog that can. And so I'm not calling them coons that are going to tree something today, but that's a good analogy. There are people here that can do things that I cannot do. I'll admit that, readily admit that. And I thank God for their abilities and their talents and their gifts. And these three young men have come to me indicating their desire to serve God in the ministry. And I believe it is my duty to help them, encourage them, give them resources, open doors for them in order to do so. The first one that I'm going to bring up here, he is a man of prayer, and he has always a great emphasis on God's holiness. I love talking to him. That's right, you tell him. And I love talking with him because he's always positive, he's always uplifting, in spite of the tremendous physical barriers he's had to walk through in order to serve God. And so I'm going to ask Stephen Combs, first of all, if he would come up here. This is to certify that Stephen Boyd Combs, that's how I get to find their middle name, I have to ask him about that, has given evidence that God has called him into the gospel ministry and was licensed to preach as he may have opportunity and to exercise his gifts in the work of the ministry by Solid Rock Baptist Church of Madison Heights, Virginia on the 29th day of March 2026.
Hallelujah.
The next one will scare you to death when you get into a biblical discussion with him. I think him and Candy are in on a conspiracy to get me because he will find a obscure verse in the Bible that most preachers want to skip over real quick and read the next one, and he wants to dig into it and find out what it means. And he loves to discuss the deeper things of God. And I believe that's something that we all ought to do. And so having said that, Josh, would you come up here, brother?
Amen.
This is to certify that Joshua Boyd, I got another Boyd here, Jernell, has given evidence that God called him into the gospel ministry and was licensed to preach the gospel as he may have opportunity and to exercise his gifts in the work of the ministry by Solid Rock Baptist Church at Madison Heights, Virginia on the 29th day of March 2026. Now, the last one is a very dynamic young man. At his young age, he can really throw down and preach. Amen. He's been invited to a lot of churches around the area, particularly around Nelson County. I've watched him on YouTube, and he's got the drive and the abilities and talents and anointing to do what he does, and ultimately he is planning to pastor a church where he is called to. We have agreed to take him into our watch care and encourage him and work with him and help him in the way of opening doors. Starting this Wednesday night, he's going to be working with the young adults over at the upper room service, starting at 6:30. He's been there before. He has his schedule where he's able to do that now on a more permanent basis, and we're very proud to have him as part of the family. Landon Campbell, would you please come up, brother? This is to certify that Landon Bryce Campbell has given evidence that God has called him into the gospel ministry and was licensed to preach the gospel as he may have opportunity, and to exercise his gifts in the work of the ministry by Solid Rock Baptist Church at Madison Heights, Virginia, on the 29th day of March, 2026. God bless you. Appreciate you so much. There you go. All right.